Hi, I'm Jennylyn, creator of Fusion Mineral Paint, and today we're going to be taking this piece that we got from Value Village and making it into a beautiful open concept pantry. I'm going to be using Alchemy, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to completely transform this piece with a beautiful ombre effect. Follow along and join me step by step as I make this look beautiful. First things first, these doors have got to go. I want a beautiful open concept feel, and I just think that this is a little bit outdated, especially with the arch shape here. So we're gonna take these off. So grab your drill and let's get started. This piece here is actually really easy to prep. It's always important to take a look and see what you've got on your surface. So here I see a ton of dust. So we're gonna wanna make sure we get all that dirt off. So I mixed up a little bit of TSP Alternative in some water, and I'm just gonna dip my rag in there and wipe that off. And then the areas that are super, super shiny, I'm gonna take my little sanding sponge and just degloss that surface there. That's all it takes. You don't need to put a lot of elbow grease into it, but that's really gonna allow the paint to adhere really, really nicely. So I wanna clean that area off as well after I've done that little light scuff sand. So I'm gonna do that to the whole piece. It's gonna take me about 10 to 15 minutes to prep it, and then I'm gonna move on to my paint. You may be asking why this is half painted. I was doing a little bit of testing with some other products before, and then I decided to keep the piece for a potential, redo at a later time, and I thought this is the perfect one. So in terms of my prep for over top of the paint, I really didn't need to do anything other than just clean it with some TSP and just get the dirt off. That's it. Now, I've got this little detail here, and I'm trying to make this look a little bit more minimalist and cleaner lines. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna fill this with the wood filler, and where I took off the doors, I'm gonna also fill these little holes as well. All right, and now we're gonna flatten and smooth it out. Don't wanna leave much left behind there because it's gonna be more to sand away. So I'm gonna take this flat spatula, boom, there we go. So let that dry, and then I'll come back along and give it a little sanding. We're back and it's the next day. Our wood filler has had a chance to dry. I'm gonna give it a light sanding just to smooth it out right before the paint. I decided to take the top off and elevate the base just to make it easier on the painting. And then I'm deciding to use a roller because I've got a lot of flat surface here, so it's gonna be a really much easier way to get into the back of this and get some really fast coverage, so I'm excited for that. We're gonna be using this beautiful color from Alchemy called Sienna, and it's a really beautiful dark terracotta color. Now we are doing an ombre effect, so the whole base I'm gonna do in this color, and then afterwards, I'm gonna bring the top over and I'm gonna kind of work with some lighter tones to move it up. We're gonna have a lot of fun blending, so stay tuned as we get to it. I'm using one of our sanding sponges, and it's got a really great angle to it. This is a really fun one because you can get into corners and grooves and edges really nicely, so super handy. This is a medium grit, so about maybe a 180 or so if you're looking at a number. That's about what this is, and that's more than enough just to sort of take back this wood fill. You just want it to be nice and flush with the wood surface. Fantastic. I'm just going to wipe off the dust and then I'll get to painting. I'm going to use a combo of a roller and a brush to tackle this project because I've got a lot of details in here. So the brush is going to be great to get into those details, but I also have a lot of flat surface. To paint the flat surface, I'm going to use my beautiful Stalmeister microfiber roller, loading up the roller here. I'm gonna use a fair bit of paint and then just kind of work it around. There we go, look at that, gorgeous. If you've got any sort of an orange peel effect, that'll typically happen with a lower quality roller. The Stalmeister rollers really give you such a beautiful, smooth coverage. And the best part about them is they're reusable. So you can wash them and use them over and over again. Little investment that's really worth it to get such a beautiful finish. and a nice, smooth, easy application. There we go. So I'm going to do the backs first, and then I'll do the surfaces. It's a fun one. It's always fun painting the inside. And I actually really like painting the inside of cabinets because it gives it a whole new look and feel inside the cabinet when you open it up. And because I'm using this cabinet as an open concept pantry, I didn't want to have the wood color. I really wanted to showcase the color of the paint itself. Nice and smooth and easy. Now I am using the longer handle here. We do have a shorter one as well, but this is a long one, which is great for getting into these deeper areas. Don't worry, the first coat's never gonna look perfect, all good. The only thing I want to make sure is that I smooth it out, okay? So I just don't want any buildup of the paint on there unless I'm going for a more textured look, which not really my goal for this one. So this is a fairly slick surface, so you may get some sliding and gliding, so try not to put too much pressure when you're rolling. Let it roll, okay? That is how you're gonna get really nice coverage. Not too much pressure. Remember, you're gonna need more than one coat as well, so don't be trying to get solid coverage and applying too much paint there. Beauty. Nice and quick and fast with the roller. Love it on the flat surfaces. Now I'm gonna hop over to my brush and get into some of these detailed areas here. Now this poor little piece of furniture did see some damage, so it's not perfect, it's okay, it's a salvaged piece, but I'm just gonna get the paint right into there. I'm not even gonna try to worry about trying to fix it, but you'll just notice there's a little bit of damage there. There we go. And I just love this oval brush from Stalmeister. I can really push into these grooves, get the paint in there, and not have to worry. The brush is gonna be fine. Then I can just come and smooth it out afterwards. Now I've got the first coat drying on the bottom half, just to the side. I've grabbed the top half here, and I've put it up so I can easily reach it. I'm not having to bend over and hurt my back. I wanted to show you a couple great tips on some rollers that you can use to make this job go really fast. So we've got our long handle, which will fit both size rollers that we have. We've got a 12 centimeter, which is the slightly larger one, and we've got a 10 centimeter. Now for this entire project, I could totally get away with the 10 centimeter, but if you've got something a little larger and you're gonna need more surface area and you wanna have faster, better coverage, just faster coverage, not better, they're both really good, then I would go with the 12 centimeter. So for this guy, I'm gonna put the 10 centimeter on the long handle, and I'm gonna use that to reach the top, and that'll make it really easy for me. These are so smooth, they roll beautifully, they're lint-free, they don't leave an orange peel effect. Beautiful rollers, well worth the investment, and the best part is you can actually wash them and reuse them over and over again, so they're not a once-used toss and go. Much better for the environment in that way. I will use the 12 as well, just to kind of show you what it can do. There we go. And you can use the 12 centimeter on the long handle roller, so you can switch them interchangeably. All good. All right. Now, we sanded this off, so it's nice and smooth. That little sort of floral decal is gone, which I'm really happy about that because I didn't love the detailing on that. And it's just gonna help to kind of modernize the look and feel of this, make it a little more neutral. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use this beautiful color terracotta in Alchemy for the bottom and maybe up to about here or so. Then I'm gonna go ahead with our sandstone and kind of do the top, and we're gonna blend and do a bit of an ombre effect. Let's get started. I love using our trays. These are really fantastic. I pour the paint in there, easy for the roller, they fit it perfectly. All right, I'm probably gonna use about half a pint or so to do this in a couple of coats. Leave that off to the side. Using my 12 centimeter Stalmeister short handle, I'm gonna load up my roller. And what I like to do is really work the paint into the roller. And then I like to work it off because you actually don't want too much paint on the roller because it'll slide and then you might get some texture and you're not going for that. Now for the first application, you may see there's a lot on there. That's fine, I can totally work this around. All good. And then as I need to add a little more paint, again, dip in. But I'm not really using a lot on there, less is more. If you've ever struggled and gotten that orange peel effect, it's most likely the type of roller you're using and also the amount of paint that you have on there. When there's too much paint, it's leaving behind excess and texture. Okay, beautiful. Amazing. So you can still see sort of through this first coat. That's completely normal. We're not expecting one coat coverage with this, but that second coat is super drastic in terms of the coverage that you're going to get. Okay, I'll leave that to the front here. Beauty. Now you may notice there's a piece missing. I ended up taking out this little section here that used to hold the doors, got rid of the doors, and this wasn't attached to anything else. So that was a quick and easy removal, which is gonna make a nice open concept pantry. Now I'm going to about here, and then I'm gonna work in a lighter color and kind of ombre that together. What rollers can't do? I don't even know. They're pretty awesome. So I've decided that I'm in love with the 12 centimeter roller. I did love the 10 and it's fantastic, but I'm just getting so much coverage really quickly with the 12 centimeter. I love it. There we go. I am going to get into the details and such with a brush, but it's great to get the larger areas covered with the roller. There we go. Excellent. Perfect. I'm going to get working with the Sandstone color, which is the lightest of our ombre that we're going to be blending into. It's a really pretty color. This one is sort of got a hint of pink to it. It's going to be really fun. Now, a fun little tip is to actually use your brush first to cut into all of the edges, and then you can start rolling. So I'm going to pour myself a little bit of paint to work with here. You can see that Alchemy has a bit of a thicker texture to it, so that's a really fun product to work with. I'm using my 10 centimeter roller with the Stallmeister roller here. There we go. Loading it up, not too much. And with my long handle, I'm able to get into the top corners and the back pretty easily. Oh wait, I was going to brush first. Let me show you what I was going to teach you. I was so eager to get painting and show you the color that I forgot to do the tip I was talking about, which is doing the edges first. So using my Stallmeister brush, I like to get into those edges and corners and then roll into it. That, because you're not going to get all the way to those edges with the roller. So if you can get a nice coat on there first, you can do it the other way around as well, but it's kind of visually a nice thing to have, so you know how far you need to roll. Now I'm going to continue rolling since I've been able to put that brush along the edges. And now I'm going to get one coat coverage, or sorry, a one coat cover over the entire surface. So using my pointed sash, I'm going to be able to get into this little molding here really nicely, whereas a round brush would kind of get stopped, but because this has a nice point to it, it fits in beautifully. And then you can still paint the rest easily. And you can smooth it out, smush it in there, and then smooth it out. So really fantastic brush to have as part of your toolkit. The pointed sash is a phenomenal go-to to have for any sort of detail areas or curves, and especially for spindles, anything like that. It's fantastic. Now this is sort of that ugly stage, I call it, of painting where, especially when you've got a light color going over top of a dark color, it looks a little scary. You're kind of like, well, that's not giving me the best coverage that I was hoping for. And that's okay. You do not get that one solid coat coverage with especially going this light over top of a dark wood like this. But the second coat looks absolutely phenomenal. I just wanted to share a little tip with you. If you are painting and you need a bit of a different size to get into the details, we have multiple different sizes of these amazing pointed sash brushes. We have a 12, a 14, and an 18. So those are all just slightly different. And then we have two in the 18, and one is actually a blend of a natural bristle mixed with synthetic. And then the one with the green string only is fully synthetic. So it's really a personal preference if you prefer working with a fully synthetic brush or one with a little bit of natural bristle. But the biggest difference is that the natural bristle one tends to hold a little bit more paint, so more coverage potentially. And these are just an absolute must-have in your toolkit. Really great for spindles, really great for all the detailed corner edges. And the whole purpose of this is that when you're painting with it, you're not gonna leave paint on the edges. It really kind of has a nice taper to the finish. One of the things I love about the pointed sash, on top of its ability to get into the corners and edges and not leave marks behind and really taper off nicely, is that you can also use it on these flat surfaces with that kind of, it's also like a rounded flat surface. So it really hugs that surface as you're working with it, and it just really helps to apply the paint nice and smooth. Really fantastic. This is the size 18 of the pointed sash brush, the Stallmeister blended bristle. Gorgeous. I wanted to show you what a second coat looks like. So off camera, I actually applied a second coat here, and you can really see the difference. Look at how solid that coverage is compared to under here. So that first coat, you really see a lot of transparency through the paint, totally normal as it's drying. So up here as well, you see a little bit of that. So with a second coat on that, it's gonna look phenomenal. I'm gonna use my roller, go ahead and give it a second coat, and we'll just see how amazing the coverage is and the difference of the coverage on a second coat. Now, as the paint dries, it also gets a little bit darker in color typically. So when you're picking paint colors, you don't really want to look at the color in the jar because it's going to look a little bit different. You'll always want to get like a little tester and try it out, especially in your lighting, because that's also going to change just a little bit. Okay. I'm going to use a brush to get into that section there. My oval Stallmeister brush for this one. There we go. Okay. All right, so we've got a coat there. So that's amazing. The coverage of that second coat is phenomenal. And I waited about 30 to 45 minutes between coats. If you can let it go even longer, that's fantastic. But usually within that amount of time, you can go ahead and put your second coat on. All right, now we're gonna get to some blending, and this is a super fun part, super artistic. Absolutely love this part. So for blending, it's pretty straightforward. You're gonna wanna grab a brush like this. It's a really nice flat brush. Now this is one of the 1 series Spalter brushes, really beautiful, smooth finish. You're gonna wanna grab your mister. This is just a little bit of water, and what that does is to help keep the open time of the paint so that you can blend the colors together. Now I'm thinking kind of doing a blend somewhere in and around here where I'm gonna mix these two colors together. So I'm gonna start off by adding a little bit of this color wet on here, and then mixing in some of the lighter color. So I'm gonna grab the lighter color and I'm gonna just brush it on up top, and then I'm gonna start blending. Get some of it in here. There we go. So you kind of start with it fairly solid and then you blend it out. Then grab my mister. I'm gonna give it just one little spray mist across. And then I'm going to take my brush and go back and forth. Going down a little bit, blending that color down, and then back up. And you're hoping to get a really nice sort of subtle blend of those two colors together. And if it starts to dry a little bit, grab your mister and give it another go and keep blending it. So up here, I'm going to give it another second coat with this brush. You can really see how incredible the difference is when you give it that extra coat. It just looks nice and solid. There you go. Perfect. Just lovely. And it's a little extra dry in here, so adding a little bit of like humidity when you're painting also can help just to spread the paint nicely. Just because it is a little extra dry today. Humidity is low. There we go. Got a nice smooth finish there with that second coat. Looking really good. Okay, now off to the side and we will do some blending. Need a little more paint. Okay. Using the roller, I'm gonna get a nice fresh coat up here. So this is also a second coat going on. And again, you see that coverage, just fantastic. That second coat, phenomenal. Okay, that is looking great. All right, I'm gonna even that out. Got a little roll there. Looking good, nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm gonna come back in with this darker color. And a nice second coat with this guy. I'm not gonna go all the way to the top yet. I will wait. I'll get the bottom done first. And then I will blend this together with a brush. Pretty close up there, but not quite all the way. So typically when I'm doing a larger surface for blending, I like to use a wider brush. So this is the number 10 in the Spalter 1 series. Just fantastic, love it, worth every penny with this one. I'm gonna grab my mister. I'm gonna throw on a nice little mist right here. And I'm gonna pull in some of the paint. Maybe throw some of this on here, the light. Just to kind of marry that together, and then I'll start blending. Okay, that there. I'm gonna wet my brush first as well, so it doesn't drag and pull off all the paint, but rather blends it together. And working from top to bottom, back and forth, like that. And it's a very flawless, smooth blend. Very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. Kind of almost like a sunset. You know, you've got all the different colors that are just blending in nicely together there. So very, very smooth finish. And this is just much nicer, bigger of a brush, so you're gonna get a more flawless blend that way too. I like it. Really pretty. I just got a chance to put the two pieces together. I think it looks fantastic. I'm loving the colors together. Now we're gonna work on blending the top with the bottom. So I decided that I was actually gonna pull up this color into here, because if I was gonna take the lighter color and go down, I'd have to redo the top and sort of change all of this. And I really like this color. It's very bold. It's a really beautiful, deep color. This one's called Sienna. So I'm gonna blend the Sienna up into the terracotta. So let's get started with that. I'm gonna add some more here and then just start blending upwards. Okay, and a little mist here, and using my flat Spalter brush, gonna just blend up with the color. And add a little more of that dark again, because I kind of mixed them a little too much. Boom, boom, boom.